Hey everyone, I'm Mr. Eli, or Eli Sparks, Curriculum Manager and Food Educator with Local Matters, and I'm excited to be back here with you today to share our second Food Matters lesson, digital lesson. Last week, when we started this digital series of our final Food Matters lessons, we began by exploring what led us to this point. We talked about my plate and fruits and vegetables, the parts of the plant, and then we started learning some new things, like our final food group. Do you remember the name of our final food group we started learning about last week? Remember, you can pause the video, share it out loud by yourself or with a sibling or family member. Those of you that said protein, ding, 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 you got it right. Protein is our final food group, and we learned last week that protein gives our brain, heart, and muscles power. Protein can come from meat, like chicken or beef or turkey. But we know that protein can also come from plants, and plant protein can be even healthier for us. Do you remember the name of the plant protein we learned about last week? Remember, we said it was a very important crop for farmers here in Ohio. If you said soybeans, you got it. Soybeans are a very important crop for farmers here. Remember, crops are plants that are grown for food. And soybeans are eaten all over the world. We can use them to make tofu. They have more protein than most other beans. This week, we're going to learn about a new plant protein. And to do that, we're going to use our imaginations to travel. Those of you who have been in the Food Matters classroom before, either this year or in years past, will remember that we like to use our imagination to travel to different places around the world and explore how they enjoy food. We've already this year been to the Caribbean using our imaginations, where we tried some tropical fruit and talked about how some fruit can grow all year long as it's warm enough. We used our imaginations to travel to the Horn of Africa, to the country of Somalia. We learned that many of our friends and neighbors here in Columbus, Ohio, are from Somalia, and we tried that delicious Somali stew, sukar. We traveled to France, where we learned to say hello by saying bonjour, and we tried a green bean and potato salad with a delicious Dijon dressing. We traveled to Italy and tried delicious brown whole grain pasta and heard the story of Stregonona. We traveled to Asia and a group of islands, that land surrounded by water, which makes up the country of Japan. And in Japan, we tried a vegetable that grows in the ocean. Do you remember what that was? If you said seaweed or nori, you are correct. Yes, we tried a delicious vegetable sushi and learned that sushi doesn't have to come with fish to be sushi. Today, we're going to stay in Asia and visit the second largest country here. Do you know what that might be? It is India. The country India is the second largest country in Asia, and it also has the second largest population, which means the amount of people that live there. India, as we travel on our imaginary plane and look out of our imaginary windows, is bordered along the north by huge mountains, the largest mountains in the world, the Himalayan mountains. That's where Mount Everest is, the tallest mountain on Earth. India is not only mountains, though. It's made up of deserts and forests and ocean coasts right along the ocean. India is very diverse in terms of the environment and ecosystems, geography. But India is also diverse in its population. I mentioned that India has the second largest population, the second largest amount of people living there. And to see how many there are there, first of all, let's take a look at this. It's estimated that there are 1,380,000,000 people living in India. Now, what does that mean? It's kind of hard to imagine. But one way we can think about it is by comparing that number to the amount of people that are estimated to live here in the United States. It's estimated that here in the United States today, there are about 330 million people. Now that is still a lot of people, but we can see it's a little bit less than the amount of people that live in India. So why don't you try this out yourself? You can get a piece of paper, a writing utensil, and if this looks a little bit tricky, feel free to ask a trusted adult with you to help you do this math problem. But we're going to subtract the smaller number, the estimated United States population, from the larger number, the estimated Indian population. And when we do that, we see that it's estimated in India there are 1,050,000,000 more people living there. That is a lot of people. There are more people living in India than twice as many people living here in the United States. If we doubled this number, we still wouldn't be close to the amount of people living in India. And what that means is diversity in India is not just in environment and geography, but also in people. There are 22 recognized languages spoken in India. 22. Isn't that amazing? And with that comes differences in tradition, diversity in religion. Many traditions are practiced in India, different traditions of all kinds. Many religions are practiced. Many people practice the Hindu religion. And in the Hindu religion, it's very important to pay respect to life, to be very respectful to life. So many people who practice the Hindu religion choose not to eat meat, since it comes from living animals. But they still need protein for their brains, their hearts, and their muscles. What can they do? Eat plant proteins. And one plant protein that's very common in India and enjoyed all over the world is lentils. This is a bag of lentils. And I'll turn it over so you can see it a bit better. Lentils are like a smaller bean that's a bit rounder and a little flatter. And lentils are wonderful in soup or along with rice. Of course, we enjoy the whole grain rice, right? That whole grain brown rice. Lentils are a wonderful source of protein that comes from plants. This week, you're going to see Mr. Martin share a video of him cooking up a delicious lentil dal, an Indian recipe. And in that recipe, we'll use a combination of spices that's very common in India. It's called curry. This is my own curry powder. This is a seasoning that's very common in India, and it's a combination of different things. It's a combination of turmeric and dried chilies or chili powder. It's a few different seasonings in one, and it's a very unique flavor. Let us know one of your favorite Indian recipes, especially if it's a curry recipe or made with lentils. A lot of people will remember that in India, yoga is a very common practice too. Yoga was invented in India, and it's a practice of moving and stretching the body in a way that can help build balance and strength, and it helps calm the mind as well. Let's celebrate the traditions from around the world when it comes to plant proteins. We hope that you'll try our Indian red lentil dal recipe coming later this week, and share with us some of your favorite yoga poses. To finish this lesson today, I want to share with you one of my favorite greetings that comes from India. And it's a very respectful way of greeting someone or saying hello. And it really means I honor the divine in you. And we'll do this by clasping our hands together and saying namaste. That's how we might greet someone in India. Practice that with your friends and family. Until next time, thanks for being here. Stay safe and healthy. See you next time.